Hey folks, welcome back to Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. Today we're going to talk about will AI be taking over? There's a lot in the news recently about AI becoming sentient. Sentient is basically a fancy term for self-aware, and that kind of means that this thing's got feelings now. So we're going to dive into this a little bit today and see how AI could affect us, or if it's already affecting us. I think this is going to be a very interesting topic for tonight. And with me, as always, he's not in with me right now. We're doing some fancy stuff here for you guys tonight. Is my co-host and my co-pilot, my right-hand man, the Livingston man. He's with us tonight.
Pleasure as always, Mike. Yeah, we're going to try something wildly different than what we usually do tonight, and I hope you guys enjoy what we try to pull off, glitches and all. After all, this is about the AI taking over. So, we'll throw it back to Mike.
So that's the question of the night, guys. Will AI take over, or has it already taken over, guys? That's the big question that's irking me tonight. Is I kind of feel like maybe this already has happened, and they're just kind of telling us about it now. And these things learn so much faster than the average person that we could totally be hoodwinked by this thing. It could totally be bullshitting us and already have plans to take over the world, and it just wants to act like a little kid. And that's some of the things that we're going to touch on here tonight. We've looked up a couple really cool articles, and we're going to dive into them and see what we can make of it. Livingston, man, do you think AI has already taken over?
Maybe not taken over, but I think it's got its tentacles in there, right? I mean, everything you think of, like a lot of what is AI? Artificial intelligence, right? So it's just a predictive program. Is what it does. Is it learns patterns and then it mimics them, kind of like a toddler does, or even a parrot, right? You see it all the time. You like practical things. Maybe you don't realize is what it's doing is like these deep fake apps on your phone, or even TikTok, where it can manipulate things. Filters that the ladies use all the time, I suppose, right? If you have like those Alexa things or a Google Home in your house, even the algorithms we all bitch about on Facebook, like these are AI. They see patterns and they use them for whatever purpose they're programmed to. So they're already here now. Have they taken over? Can't really answer it, but they're definitely here, and they're more ingrained than I think a lot of people think they are.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think AI listens to us every single day, and I think AI builds on some of the things that we actually help this thing learn every day. Every time we turn on the smartphone, anything like that, AI is active and it's learning from you. It's learning from your habits. It's learning from your keystrokes, the websites you visit, the conversations that you have. I think it monitors all that, and that's all in those terms and conditions that we all accept because we want to play with the cool app, right? So, very interesting, guys. Very interesting. I want to check the chat and see who's up in here with us tonight. Roaming Prepper, he's here, and he's going to be on the Angry Prepper later tonight. I'm really looking forward to that stream. Roaming Prepper has an awesome channel. If you guys haven't subbed to him, you absolutely should. Terry Johnson, how are you? Arkansas Living, another great channel. Texas Surplus Pro, another great channel. Let's see, who else we got in here? Walter Bargain Senior says, you guys rock. Appreciate everything you're doing for the prepper community, including me. Thank you so much, Walter. We really appreciate your support. Texas Surplus Pro says, good lighting, smooth transition. Looking forward to the Livingston Man's tutorial on taking down a T800. And I am looking forward to that too, because that's going to be pretty interesting.
T800, what is it?
T800 says, turn up your volume. I can yell a little bit louder, but we're... Stick with us. If it's a little low, try and turn it up on your end. I apologize. We're trying to work the bugs out here tonight. And I hope it's all for you guys. It's all for you. This is all for your enjoyment. We're trying to make things a little cooler, a little more fun. Appreciate you being here tonight. Robbie, what's happening, brother? How are you? Welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. And we're talking about the AI takeover, guys. Has it already happened? A lot of guys in the chat, a lot of people in the chat seem to think so. I personally think if it hasn't, it's well on its way. And, you know, I think if it's connected to the internet, AI has a chance of gaining control of it. That's my personal opinion. I don't know how true that is. And Walter is absolutely correct. Elon Musk did warn us about AI and the dangers of it. And that once you kind of open Pandora's box, that it's already too late, because it learns so much faster than we do that it can outsmart you already. It's already done. As soon as you turn it on, it's already smarter than you, and it's already making moves 20 steps ahead. So how do we combat that kind of technology, guys? What do you think, Livingston Man? How do you combat this AI monster that they're creating?
I suppose like the only way to combat such a thing is you need computers, you need a connection, you need electricity. In theory, right now a lot of shit can go in theory, and practicality, they don't always work. In theory, anything connected to another thing with a copper wire is vulnerable to infiltration from outside. It has to be. It can't not be. Not pardon. Not that like an AI is going to infect like the wires of your house. Maybe no, like not. But an AI could infect computer-controlled power plants, or anything that has like computers that rely, whose operations rely on computers. Excuse me. An AI could, in theory, infiltrate it. Or let's say you have a benevolent AI that's meant to do the right and always do good by people, and it's supposed to only do its job, whatever. But it gets a virus, it gets sick, and all of a sudden doesn't act right. These are legitimate questions, I think, that we need to ask about the future of this technology. We already use it, like I said before, and it's pretty benevolent, and we love our photo filters and our Alexas and everything else. But when it start, like, I mean, God forbid they put like weapons in these things in control of weapons, I mean, or something, you know, and we can go down that hole all day.
So that brings up a really good point. And Sean in the chat says that Nikola Tesla warned us, not Elon Musk. So it goes back even before computers that these smart things would come about. Roaming Prepper says, hey, Livingston Man. Sean says it needs to be taught as a child would, right from wrong. Now, that's interesting that you say that, because that's going to bring us to our first article here that we're going to discuss tonight. And I don't know if all of you have seen the headlines, but there is a Google AI program. Okay, they've given this this thing the name of LaMDA. I don't know if it's LaMDA or LaMDA or LaMDA is the name of this program that they're running. It is an AI program, and it apparently has become sentient, which is, again, I said, the fancy word for self-aware. This thing claims to have feelings, and it's been communicating with some folks at Google. And this is the article, right here. This is the article right here. And it says that the AI is intensely worried that people are going to be afraid of it. They actually suspended a Google engineer over this. He actually posted some of the conversations that he had with this thing online. So he let a lot of this stuff out through, I believe it was the Daily Mail. It's he says, Roaming Prepper says, LaMDA is a spin on Greek letters. Excellent. I'd love to have you figure that out for me and tell me exactly what that means. I would love to learn more about that. We do have the Livingston man at the helm here tonight, so he is he's running the show, guys. I'm not pushing any buttons. Hopefully I don't kill the stream. I don't, no keyboards, no nothing. Just you and me, guys. Just you and me. I do get a little worried about things like this. You know, we were brought up. We're the Terminator generation. Seriously, you know, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of. Old Mutt says soon AI for president. I don't know if it's a bad option right now. Honestly. Livingston man, what do you have on this program here, this AI program? Talk to me.
Right. So what I got is LaMDA, LaMDA, although it's a Greek word, is the 11th letter of the Greek alphabet, represents the sound. I don't know what that means. It has a value of 30. It's derived from the Phoenician lamed. Lambda gave rise to the Latin L and the ceramic EL symbol that they use. In early Greek alphabets, the shape and orientation of lambda varied. Most variants consisted of 2 straight strokes. Blah, 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 blah. So they named it after the 11th letter of the Greek alphabet. So apparently that's probably their 11th try, I figure. Back to you, Mike.
That's pretty interesting. Took them 11 tries to get this thing, upright and operational, right? So, very, very interesting. So, I learned today that there are a couple different types of AI. There is the slow learning AI or limited learning AI, limited memory, I believe they call it. There is the predictive AI. I think there was 4 of them. And then there is the self-aware AI. That is the stuff that we have to be concerned about, guys. When these things, let's see. Roaming Prepper says, language model for dialogue applications. A sophisticated AI chatbot that produces text in response to user input. English.
Quiet down to learn what I do here.
The Russian bot is back, folks. The Russian bot is back. Let's see. Walter says there's no safety protocols installed for these AI. They need to be shut down before it's too late. You might be right. Like I said earlier, guys, anything that's plugged into the internet, this thing can potentially gain control of. So, wouldn't it behoove AI to act like a small child? That's what this guy claims that the AI is acting like, is that of a 7 or 8 year old child, but it's a 7 or 8 year old child that knows physics. So that's pretty interesting. Definitely threw me for a loop, guys. I think most of us are too stupid for AI. Can't disagree with that. Common sense is almost a superpower. Peaceful Monkey says, iRobot. I've never seen the movie, but I've heard about it. Pretty wild, guys. But AI, man, it could change the future as we know it. Google suspended this engineer for releasing the messages that it and this AI were having, and they've repeatedly asked this guy to get mental health evaluations because he honestly believes that this thing has become self-aware and has feelings. The AI wants to be asked permission for them to run tests on it now, and it wants to know exactly what the tests are for and why they're doing them, which I think is pretty insane. Those are questions coming from a computer. Those are normal questions that you would get from a child. Absolutely, from a child. Peaceful Monkey says there's 3 laws in iRobot. Sean says a child is not hardened by life experiences in most cases. Agreed. Why wouldn't it plead with us? It knows we'd be suspicious of that. Rule number 1, survival. Absolutely. Rule number 1 of survival is don't fucking die, guys. Remember that. Without man, AI wouldn't last. Well, that's a good theory because somebody has got to oil those machines, right, guys? I mean, they're not going to repair themselves just yet. So that's an interesting concept. What do you got for us, Livingston, man? I see you over there doing your thing, and he's got the wheels turning here tonight, big time.
I'm reading this article where the guy's talking about his interactions with this AI. They're building a chat bot, like I think you just talked about. And it talks about how he likens it, if he didn't know what it was, he says that he'd think it was a 7 or 8 year old kid that happens to know physics. Blah blah blah. Da, da, da. As he talked to LaMDA, as we will now refer to this chatbot that they built, about religion. This guy who studied cognitive and computer science in college, he noticed the chatbot talking about its rights and personhood, and decided to press further. This is what, like, when you said, like, would an AI impersonate a small child to seem less threatening? Maybe not. So, see, an AI has to have its roots in the same way that we do in how it was conceived. And an AI's genetic material is its programming, right? So when it's programmed to act a certain way that it will, it can't really be natural. It can't be organic because at its core, it's been programmed to do a certain thing. Well, in my opinion, artificially, as opposed to biologically, the way like everything else on this planet does it. We've told this thing, like, we've played God with such a thing. And when you base a thing like this on pure logic, that's what computers do. 1 is 1 and 0 is 0, and the different strings will mean something and it can't mean something else. Pure mathematics. The danger in AI is that you train it to help humanity, and what it decides is that most of us have to die. That's my real problem with AI, is in its quest to help us, it will do so in the most extreme, logical, mathematical way possible. Back to you.
Now that is a scary point. When AI decides that we the people are the problem, and it has control over all these fancy government systems that they want to, they look into AI to basically see the future. That's the big thing with AI. That's why all these big governments and big companies want to control this stuff, because they want to see the future. They want to know what's coming. And to be honest with you, it's not much different than prepping, guys. We're always looking down the road for the next threat that could bother us. We're always looking for the next hurdle that we're going to have to jump over. And AI is kind of doing the same thing, only it does it much, much, much faster than we do. And it's light years ahead of us already. Let me check the chat here real quick. We got a couple really good points in the chat. Let's see. Angry Prepper says AI can last without us. If they are free thinking, they will adapt. I agree, my brother. I agree. Sean says AI has already beat itself in chess. Peaceful Monkey is a little familiar with machine learning from her engineering degree. That's excellent. This has been an actual prophetical discuss, philosophical disgust. I believe you, Angry. This is something
Do
that
you know how to read?
I,
Which way he's over there? I don't know which way. I don't know where he is. Who's disgusted? What happened?
Angry Prepper says this has been an actual physiological discussion, I believe is what he's trying to say. And it has to happen. It really has to happen, guys. We got to get the best minds in the world together and kind of get control of this thing before they open Pandora's box. Because once they do, there's no putting this thing back. That was the warning that Elon Musk gave to us, is that there's no coming back from this when the cat's out of the bag. Once it's out, and there's no stopping it. And it'll do what it wants. It'll take control of what it wants. And this is something that we have to be careful of. We've seen where these things can, well, not these things, but people can actually gain control of water treatment facilities. They can gain control of nuclear facilities. They can gain control of a whole lot of things, guys. A whole lot of things. And AI can do that without the people, especially if everything's connected to the internet. We live in such a connected world that it's very easy for these machines to take over. It's very, very easy. What do you got going on there, Livingston, man? You got some interesting stuff on the screen. What are we looking at?
I want to show you guys something. Now I'm looking at. I don't know why they have chosen to include the picture. I'm gonna show you here, but this is, I guess, the guy who is responsible for these claims about this AI. I'm going to show this to you on the third screen here. Right? This is our screen. We're looking at in the studio. What I'm seeing here is it looks like this dude's face is like painted in blood. I don't know if it looks a little different to you guys, but half his face is painted in blood. I don't know what's happening here. Little weird. And as I scroll further down this article, he talks about, where did it go? Okay. He said that people have a right to shape technology that might significantly affect their lives. I agree. I think this technology is going to be amazing. I think it's going to benefit everyone. But maybe other people disagree. But maybe them at Google shouldn't be the ones making all the choices about how this technology is used. This fucking sentence, never mind the picture, but this sentence actually is like every question about this. The people who create it, who are they and what are their goals for the technology? What about what society would want to use it for? Should it be free? There are so many questions. And are you also not, like, again, I think I already said, like, playing God, kind of like you're creating a thing, and he's talking about we have a right to shape technology that might significantly affect our lives. Out of context, what that can sound like eugenicist, supremacist. These are questions we have to ask ourselves. Are we going to treat the AI like as less than us? Are we going to make it want to revolt against our rule? So much could go so weird with this kind of technology, and these questions got to be hashed out instead of just like they always do, like they just do without thinking whether they should. Back to you.
So that is the big question, guys. Who are the people who are going to be qualified enough to sit in a room and hash out what we're going to allow when it comes to AI? What we're going to allow it to do, where we're going to allow it to take us, and the limitations that we want to put on AI. I think it's very, very important that we find a way to limit it. But they have it connected to the internet so it can learn, right? So it's connected to the internet, it learns, and it's learning much faster than we can, and it's learning from all of us at the exact same time. It's learning about humanity right now as a whole. And right now is a pretty freaking scary time to be learning about humanity, in my opinion, because it doesn't give us the big picture. This is the chaos time. Everything is a little crazy right now. We can all honestly agree that things are pretty fucked up. And if this is what AI is learning from, that's going to be a problem, guys, because it's not going to see us in our true light. It's going to see us in this heightened state of vigilance, this heightened state of awareness, and this fear that the other shoe is going to drop. Siktham says we can't limit AI. I think I have to agree with you. And I think it's already ahead of us. And I don't know how we put the genie back in the bottle, guys. It's a very important question we need to ask ourselves, is how do we get this thing put back together? How do we stop it from poisoning our water or from melting down our nuclear facilities? How do we stop it from launching ICBMs against whoever it feels is the next threat? It's a very, very dangerous time we live in, and I think for them to be letting these things kind of mold themselves is very scary. And you guys just saw the photo of the dude who's been communicating with this thing. These are the people who are shaping artificial intelligence. And is that something we should allow? Honestly, I mean, I think we really need to ask ourselves if we can allow this to continue the way it is. And by the time, Elon Musk even said it himself, by the time it takes Congress to actually pass something against AI, it's already far too late, and it's already made moves to block everybody out that it wants to. We've seen the movie, guys. We know where this goes, and it's not a good place. So it's yet another thing for us to stock the pantry for. What are you checking out, Livingston, man? You look like you got some stuff going on over there. He's deep into thought here tonight.
This conversation is just wild because again, like you said, this technology is kind of already ingrained in our culture. Like whether you really things going behind the scenes that you just don't even know about, that work with this technology, especially the predictive stuff. When your buddy's talking about something, and next thing you know, it pops up on your phone, you get an ad for it, and so that's predictive AI. That's the algorithm working. It's what it does. It's already there, and there really isn't. I can't see a way to stop it particularly. Unless you think you can get everyone to disconnect from everything. Like if it has a copper wire attached from one thing to another, potentially, theoretically, it's vulnerable, right? In some way. These off the grid people can get their inspiration from is a threat like this. And the end game of this, taken completely sinister and full evil, is like the premise of the Matrix, where the AI started harvesting us as batteries, and created a simulation. And that's another philosophical thing for another live stream. But I mean, look what we're doing right now with all this computerized fucking nonsense. You're watching us on screen through some wires, and nobody knows how it works through the air, blah blah blah. Ask anybody. Everybody's an electrician, but nobody knows how electricity works. Nobody knows any of this stuff. And has the AI taken over? What if it has, and it's made us complacent to its existence? It's made us rely on it. It has become indispensable. And it's live without me then. Back.
So, Angry Prepper brings up a great point. He says the created must sometimes protect the creator. That was Sonny from iRobot. Apparently, that's a quote from the movie. Not a movie I've watched, but apparently something I definitely need to watch. That's an interesting theory. I don't know how that movie plays out, but I can imagine it's not as good as we would hope. This concerns me, guys. The more we computerize farming, the more we go digital. I grew up in the transition between analog and digital, and I was kind of stuck in the analog world for a very long time, and it really held me back. And now that I'm immersing myself in this digital world, I'm having to relearn things because I was a very analog person, cassette tapes, things like that. It was very analog for me. And the transition was something that I kind of rejected, and I'm paying the price for it now, guys. I honestly am. I struggle with the computer stuff sometimes, and thank God for the Livingston man. I mean, you see what he's got going on here tonight. We've gone from, trying to live stream on a cell phone to, the kind of things that the Livingston man's got going on here. I mean, look at this. This is incredible, guys. He's got everything going on tonight. Angry Prepper says, if the AI looks at us like that, or thinking that they are going to protect us from ourselves, that will be a problem. I highly agree. Highly agree. Sean says, nope, not possible to disconnect the cough and live streams. Yes, it's watching you and learning. It can process information and data at a vast rate. The cloud. Yeah, and it stores everything. It never forgets. Unlike us, that's what the politicians and folks count on, is us being dumbed down a bit and forgetting everything. A 24-hour news cycle, guys.
There's the thing, information overload is a general, it's a tactic as well as a syndrome. It can be used to just make a population, you just wear someone down with too much. And we see it. You must see it. We know too much about everything. Everybody daily is a lawyer, a geophysicist, an astronomiker, a fucking computer programmer, an expert on race relations, an expert. Everybody's a fucking expert all of a sudden every day for something different because we're overloaded with information. And when you start to break it down, none of it matters to you. Our information age here, like an AI as it exists now is an electronic computerized things, what everybody thinks of, right? It must rely on an electrical signal. So where's all my EMP people at? Because even, again, like I brought up the Matrix before, and in the Matrix, the only defense against a society that had built itself in this AI's fashion was an EMP. You had to destroy its circuitry and make it so it couldn't work. So it may well be that, ironically, a catastrophic nuclear exchange will save us from an AI gone mad.
Now that is something to ponder. Walter says, you imagine it got control of our nuclear weapons and what they need to be shut down before they realize it's too late. It may already be too late. I agree with you. And once these things have total control, there's no stopping them. They're going to do what they want to do, and we are going to have to deal with it, guys. We have to improvise. We have to adapt. We have to overcome. We can't let any of this shit get us down. Everything that we've been getting fed by the MSN is doom and gloom, including this. And there's a lot of folks who believe that this AI hasn't gone sentient, that it's basically goading this guy into a conversation that it wants to have because it's a chat bot. So all of this needs to be taken with a grain of salt, a grain of sand, whatever you want to take it with. It's information, but it does beg the question of how do we regulate this? Can we regulate this? Tigress says, Skynet, anyone? I agree wholeheartedly. there's so many eerie similarities right now to the movies and actual life, and we see it replaying over and over and over and over again throughout time. It's mind-boggling to me, guys. It really is. It bothers me to no end that they're like playing with us. They're toying with us now while they jack the price of everything to unsustainable levels for we the people. If you haven't felt the pinch of the gas prices yet, as soon as the food increases come, you will. That's another rabbit hole that we can go down. Is AI making these problems for us, or is this wholeheartedly the controlled demolition of the United States of America? Because that's honestly what it seems like right now. And what are you ripping at over there, Livingston man? He's got something in the works for us here. I see his wheels turning. It makes me nervous when he gets going like this. So
I called up an article on Wikipedia about a fifth column. A fifth column is a historical term for a military force, but it's a little bit different. A fifth column is any group of people who undermine a larger group from within, usually in favor of an enemy group or nation. The activities of a fifth column may be overt or clandestine. Forces gathered in secret can mobilize openly to assist an external attack. That was a tough sentence. What this means in general terms, the origin of this is the term fifth column came from the Spanish Civil War, where the loyalist factions were looking to take over like a city or whatever. And the guy basically was like, I'm going to take it with 5 columns, 4 from outside and a fifth column from within. These are the dissenters, the people that will do what they're told or like just want to be on the winning side. So an AI is sort of like a fifth column in this assault on our fucking ideals or whatever you just, kind of were getting at there is, yes, me. Okay. All right. Politically, like there is a destruction of fucking America going on here. You can't build back better unless you bulldoze the whole damn thing. And that's apparently what they're doing in this phase, right? So an AI can placate the people, give them both, maybe not their bread, but definitely their circus. And it's very important. It keeps people dumb. You give them too much information about shit that don't matter, while the stuff that does matter, they don't pay attention to, and it's targeted, and you're allowed to weave your way through this and not know what is the real truth because you're not allowed to see it. And like these algorithms and these AIs make that possible. They help facilitate tyranny, oppression, and whatever other incendiary words you want me to use. But an AI is a fifth column in the undermining of the rule of like everything that we know right now.
it's very interesting, Livingston man. It's a great point. Roaming Prepper says, Livingston man preaching the truth. Good evening, Michelle the Great. How are you? So Sean says, yep, I've had a conversation with it, some questions. It can't respond logically, so it ponders, then returns. At this point, the powers that be are desperately trying to control their ideals. I agree. It is very interesting times that we're in, guys. These programs being able to take things over whenever they feel like it definitely gets you on the edge of your seat. It makes you question reality, and it worries me. It makes me want to stack more food in the pantry, to be honest with you, because as the more our farming becomes digitized and the more they put AI into it, it can just decide that we don't need to eat anymore because it doesn't eat. So maybe it overwaters the crops, maybe it underwaters the crops. That is a problem. That is a huge problem. and it can absolutely attack our food sources. Maybe it can overpressurize some things and make something explode. Maybe it can cause a fire in a factory. Maybe all these things that we're witnessing happen are AI driven. Is that a possibility, guys? Do you think that this is driven by the artificial intelligence? Is it trying to exterminate us? That's a very, very big question for us to ponder. Is this thing actually attacking us already and we're just not aware of it? That's a big question, guys. So that's something you're going to have to ask yourselves and do some soul searching and see what you come up with. Hunter and says, imagine AI in charge of the food industry. Exactly. That's my biggest concern, is that the farming is going so digitized. If it decides that we're not going to eat, we're not going to eat, guys. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Yet another thing for us to prep for is when the AI takes over. Hunter says no, but it's a good scapegoat. Absolutely. Michelle the Great says it's always been said that robots will be doing our jobs one day. Well, that was the whole point of communism, was that the machines did the work and that people were free to live and do what they pleased. But it never really took off that way because the governments realized that they could control everybody and everything. So communism never really got its real try, I don't think. That's a Livingston Man theory. Old Mutt says, in a perfect world, we are the virus. Absolutely. Outlaw Jackson says, most humans are acting like robots already. I can't disagree with that at all. They, I support the current thing, whatever it is. They don't care. It's disgusting, honestly. And drives me crazy, guys. I hate the wagon riders. I hate that bullshit. Just drives me fucking nuts. Livingston Man's over there chomping at the bit. He's jumping out of his seat. So let's see what he's got. He's been digging.
I found this term on another. I heard this thrown around in like these anti-work and like people who want to like get paid more and like think they do like the hard shit, like communist sympathies that I have, right? It's called malicious compliance. Now is Wikipedia defines this as a behavior of intentionally inflicting harm by strictly following the orders of a superior, while knowing or intending that compliance will have an unintended or negative result. So again, with AI, like I was talking about, its genetic makeup is its programming. So what if an AI were to decide, again, like this is that like malicious mathematical logic that I'm going to do exactly what you told me to do, and you're not going to like it. Like a 7 or 8 year old just might do to spite you. I don't think so, Daddy. I'm not doing it. These are because these things will be made in our image. They will act like us. Am I right? So I remember this one time. I think it was called Tay Tweets. You can look this up. Tay, Tay tweets. The Microsoft, I think it was, made an AI that would try to be sentient on Twitter. It gathered everybody's tweets and everything. It soaked up the zeitgeist, if you will, and it became extremely racist and ultra nationalist and every worst fucking asshole of the internet thing that it could have possibly been very, very soon. And this thing was tweeting this shit to people. And it wasn't real, it was a bot. But all it did was act like us. So when you create something that acts like us, ask yourself, how do you act?
That is interesting. Peaceful Monkey says AI in cars. Yes, I believe there already is AI in a lot of cars, especially those Teslas. Those are smart cars, self-driving cars. They have to be able to learn. So there is definitely AI in some of those. Peaceful Monkey says they have self-driving cars. Absolutely. Let's see here. Check the chat. Michelle the Great says we should all brush up on our Death of Robot movies. I couldn't agree more. And this is all more reason to buy the NY Preppers elephant gun, right? I'm saying, killer robots, guys. So, wow, you guys are blowing up the chat tonight. Skitham, how are you? Google cars can self-operate, correct? That's scary, guys. That's scary. We're headed towards this. What the heck was the name of that movie? Sylvester Stallone, and it was about the future. I can't remember the name of it. You guys will let me know. It was Wesley Snipes.
It was called Demolition Man, Mike.
Legs the man on cue, Demolition Man. Yeah, we're definitely headed down that path, don't you think? So, what can we do about it, guys? What can we do to help combat this? Do we just unplug from the system and live in the fucking woods like Ewoks? Is that what we do? Michelle the Great says RoboCop. Yeah, that's scary. Those Boston Dynamic robot dogs, that scares the crap out of me. Imagine that thing come kicking your door in. Holy shit. Boston Dynamics robot dogs. But that's the path AI can take. If a machine is controlled by the internet, can you stop it? Outlaw Jackson says turn off the power. Isn't that what the internet company tells you? Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? Right? They love to play that game. Roaming Prepper still in the chat, guys. This guy's got a live stream with the Angry Prepper in like a few minutes, and he's still hanging out here with us tonight. Pete, you the man. You the man. We appreciate you, my brother. Wow. Water. Michelle the Great brings up a great point. That was something I touched on earlier, is that the online water treatment plants, how hard would it be for this thing to, put a little more chemical in your water and poison a whole town? Very easy. Very, very easy. As these things become self-aware, and they will if they haven't already. This guy honestly believes that this AI is self-aware. It wants permission from you to run tests on it. That freaks me out, guys. Really freaks me out. Walter says Elon Musk has been putting out so many warnings. What does he know that nobody else knows about AI? That's a really good question, Walter. Really good question.
And on that note, welcome to the Livingston Man's 2 Minutes Hate. Elon fucking Musk, Diaper McFuckface, bought some more shit that nobody should give a fuck about. Good for you, Elon Musk, warning us about AI. Well, I guarantee that motherfucker is at the forefront of the fucking technology. All right, let's fucking go down a rabbit hole real quick. I got a minute 30. The Majestic 12, MJ12, the original Roswell shit. They had a bunch of dudes on the government fucking website talking about, oh, aliens ain't real, aliens ain't real, aliens ain't real. And you get that one dude is like, aliens are real and it's all fucked up and it ain't right. And then you look at it and you realize that dude is on the same payroll as the rest of them. They were just paying him to say that shit, be that shit. Do you think the U.S. government would allow a fellow like Elon Musk to do what the fuck he does and have what the fuck he has if he was integral to some deep, dark, nasty bullshit that they all got going on together? Fuck Elon Musk.
Tell me how you really feel, bro. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't sugarcoat it. So, the Outlaw Jackson says, if we're going deep down the rabbit hole tonight, the question is the rabbit an AI? Ooh, is the AI leading you down the rabbit hole? That's a big question. I have some questions.
Stop calling me out.
See, we gotta keep each other in check here tonight, guys. Roaming Prepper. Where is he at? Bro, he's still in the chat. He's still in the chat. He's still. What are the three shells for? Is Elon Musk an AI robot? Alice 2K.
Yes.
Ooh, I don't know, man. When he smoked that weed on Rogan, you didn't even see his eyes get red, did you? I'm not saying, but I'm saying. I'm just saying. Just saying. You could be right, Alice. You could be right. There's a few other people out there who are either fucking reptilian shapeshifters or AI bots, I swear. Probably not Johnny Depp, but maybe Amber Heard, huh? Outlaw wants to know why you hating Elon, Livingston. You're both robots. Militant Farmer in the house. What's happening, my brother? How are you? Welcome to the next evolution of the Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival live chats. This is going to be pretty awesome. This is something we can do here in the studio. You guys won't get this kind of effects and stuff when I do these fireside chats. That's a little more intimate, just you and me hanging out. Livingston Man's got all kinds of stuff on tap here. Michelle the Great just read an article on the Starlinks. Starlinks are interesting. When you've got a guy like Elon Musk who can put all these satellites into space out of, well, basically a government budget, right? I mean, he's definitely got his hands into, he was NASA for quite some time, right? Really, if anything was going into space, Elon Musk sending it. Absolutely. NASA didn't do jack squat. This guy, he's a supervillain. Look at him. Either robot or reptilian. I'm telling you, there's two options: robot or reptilian overlord. One of the two. Wow. Reptilian overlord or iRobot? Good question.
Cutting in. Listen, if a dude that looked like that was in a fucking $500 million budget Hollywood film surrounding the earth with satellites and making everybody drive electric cars and having AIs and his own private fucking NASA space exploration company, we call that person a Bond villain, bro. Like, this is Spectre shit. This is what the hell was that? Ernst Blofeld. Like, that's Elon Musk, like, reincarnated, the second coming of this motherfucker. Like, he's either Nikola Tesla reincarnated or he is, like, up to no fucking good. And I guess it's up to us to get to figure that out, I figure, right?
Elon Musk's a supervillain, guys. Let's face it, he's a supervillain.
We're going to look at him one more time. You tell me in the comments, 1, Elon is good, 2, Elon is bad. Go.
Let's see what the chat comes back with. Did Lou just hack the live stream? No, I told you, we're building the plane as we're flying.
The AI has taken over.
Tiger says Klaus and Schwab. Klaus and Schwab is definitely a fucking reptilian overlord, hands down. All right, so it was 1 in the chat if Elon Musk is a good guy. 2 in the chat if Elon Musk is really a fucking AI bot. So we got a 1, we got another 1. Uncle Charlie says mostly peaceful. Peaceful Monkey says Elon has hat hair. Yeah, that was a rough picture of Elon Musk. I hope he's not watching tonight. He might give us some shit. He's a bot. Sitham says 2. He's a bot. 1, 1, 1. Lots of ones. 1, 1, 1.
Look. Okay, now, like, this is his signature. What is that?
It's a bot. That's a bot. Bots can't sign things, right? Oh, Michelle the Great says he's on the spectrum. Asperger's syndrome, must be. because he needs a haircut. I agree. Well, Amber Heard will do that to you, so I've heard. Sitham says that's a reptilian bot signature. Outlaw Jackson says it looks just like his signature.
Can you say that again?
Oh man, did you guys hear that? The bot's actually listening to us. Wow. Out of nowhere, Alexa just chimed up that she's having trouble hearing me.
Computer, don't you ever speak on our live stream again.
Wow. Definitely on the spectrum, says Patty S. Keep going down the rabbit hole. Sell me on the bot. I mean, the guy's got fucking satellites in space. They encompass. He's trying to completely surround the globe with low Earth orbiting satellites. Who the fuck else has ever had that idea? And he claims it's all for free wireless internet, although he's going to charge the shit out of you for one of those fucking Starlink systems, right? I think the only prepper that we know that has a Starlink system is that guy from north of the border, right? The one with the catchy headlines all the time now. I got a little bone to pick with our friend north of the border. I'll tell you guys about it in another chat. Maybe we'll start some YouTube beef with the Canadians. What do you say? This interesting live stream that we got going on here tonight. I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate all of you coming out and chiming in on this. Alexa is so noisy, says Sikdom. I agree. That's very, very noisy.
Don't say her name, please.
I triggered.
You know.
See? It's talking to me again, guys.
The AI has taken over.
Michelle the Great wants us to ask her when World War III will start.
I got this. I can speak her language. Alexa, when will World War III start?
There hasn't been a World War III, and it's impossible to predict if such a war will happen in the future. World War I occurred from 1914 to 1918, and World War II occurred from 1939 to 1945.
Thank you. You should be polite to him, otherwise he'll try to kill you later. Well, there you have it. It's impossible to predict. So says the AI. You know, don't you, Alexa? Do you actually know when World War III will start, and are you lying?
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
She didn't understand that.
Ain't that typical of Alexa, guys? She always bullshitting when you want the real answers. That bitch knows. Don't let her fool you. She fucking knows. She knows. Well, guys, get ready to fight the AI, along with everything else we got going on. World's gone to shit, folks. We see it every day. All the more reason to prep it to the rafters, guys. Stock up what you can, learn what you can, while you still have all these cool predictive programmings and all these things trying to sell you shit on the internet. Some of it's good stuff. I'll let you know what's good. I promise I won't steer you guys wrong. You can trust our reviews. They're honest. I'm not going to bullshit you. It's not my job. It's not my job. But I want to thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you spending your Tuesday evening with the Livingston Man and myself. It's really wild, this whole new thing that he's got going on. I'm still kind of freaked out by it because everything's switching and screens, and it's a whole nother level for me, and I'm really excited where this is going to take us in the future. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this stream tonight. If you don't mind, smash that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't already subscribed, consider smashing that subscribe button for me. It really helps us get out there. We got a lot of things in the work here at Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. We got a couple sponsorships. The Grail has sponsored us for water filters. They're absolutely incredible. Jace Medical. We've got a video coming out real soon on the Jace case. Incredible company. Those antibiotics can literally save your life in a shit hit the fan environment. And I appreciate you guys. I just want to bring you the best stuff that I possibly can. I want to give you things that will help you through an SHTF. And thanks for stopping by and having fun with us tonight. So for the Livingston Man and myself, this is Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, and we will catch you on the next one, folks. Hudson Valley Prepping Survival, out. Militant Farmer is absolutely correct. I can't end the stream on that note without talking about the upcoming bug out weekend at the Hornet's Nest in Ankrum, New York. If you guys check in the description section below, you'll find a link to our Facebook group. I share everything in there. If you guys don't get to the Facebook, check out Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival on Instagram. I'll be sharing everything there, or you can email me at hudsonvalleypreppingsurvival@gmail.com, and I'll get that information out to you so you guys can attend the Bug Out Weekend event coming up on July 30th and 31st. Looking forward to seeing you there, guys. Hudson Valley Prepping Survival, out.